Hello from Hollywood, where as you can see outside the sun is shining quite brightly. I'm just heading up into the Hollywood Hills in front of me when I'm doing another little video and show you the homelessness problem here that everyone's talking about. I'm not going to say it's worse than in London. I think London is quite chronic. I mean, I'm looking around the tents on the streets. It's similar to here, where you're almost walking around bodies. The Hollywood that I knew is no longer the plush Hollywood where stars, advertise their goods and Tony Bennett posters are up all over the place. I'll show you what I mean in a minute. This area here is Olympic Boulevard, which I think you'd agree if you saw the place. It's just a bit like Aldgate in central London, the east end of London. Very, very similar, a bit warmer. And the homelessness problem here isn't as bad as I thought it would be. It's more in Hollywood and down on the shoreline, and you see up there the Hollywood Hills. I can do it in front of you. So I'd say this place has changed quite radically since I was last here a few years ago. This is quite busy now. It's in the rush hour and it's extremely busy. Life here is quite manic, to say the least. There's the Hollywood Hills up there. I think as well, one thing I've noticed is that the American drivers it's got, they're not as courteous as they used to be. I mean, especially when there's a motorway that comes down from where we went yesterday up in a suburb outside Los Angeles, and in like the lowlands, like really formerly desert. But I mean, the idea of driving at 50 miles an hour no longer stands. I mean, they were going at all sorts of speeds, quite recklessly, I thought, and it's not as safe as it used to be. Everything seems to have got faster out here. There's the Hollywood Hills over there. The famous, the one and only Sunset Boulevard Street. I'll try and do another broadcast. Sunset Boulevard was a film, the original film made in the 30s, I think it was the 40s. I think it was William Holden, sort of film noir production, black and white, and just the most unusual film, a classic movie. If you've never seen it, Sunset Boulevard. I think there was a stage production in London a few years ago as well, Sunset Boulevard. When you look at the roads out here as well, you'll see that they're much wider, and I think there's a saying, an old saying, that the automobile was made for Los Angeles, whereas in London the roads were basically designed for the horse and cart. You see that, you drive very, there's no symmetry to the roads in London, unlike out here where all the roads are very, very straight and narrow. Hollywood Hills, and in a minute you should see the Hollywood sign. behind me, a few miles over there, is a place called Anaheim, where the original Walt Disney World is, and the castle, I think it's been rumoured, I don't know if there's any truth in it, is that Walt Disney himself is buried in the castle somewhere, his crypt. Sounds very romantic, doesn't it? Lots of stores out here that we have in the UK. So you see Starbucks, and one we've got a few of, Taco Bell, which is like sort of Mexican version of McDonald's. You may have seen in the UK, Taco Bell. Not the greatest fan of it. And out here as well, there's a number of film festivals coming and going, big ones. One recently, the Sundance Festival in Utah, that was in Utah, but they have one here called the Brentwood Film Festival, which I think promotes smaller movies. But the big one that everyone looks forward to is Cannes, which is in May, which is just a phenomenal event, with everyone and from the film world all over the world, not just the USA, and Japan, and all promotional movies. Last year Quentin Tarantino was down there promoting his recent movie Once Upon a Time in America, if you've never seen it, about a sort of rendition of the Sharon Tate murders. If you're old enough to remember, the Sharon Tate was murdered by the Charles Manson gang around 1969, I believe, and she was pregnant at the time, and I think it was a very unpleasant death. The baby died and she died, but the ending of Once Upon a Time in America is most unusual. I won't tell you too much because Hollywood Hills there, and there's another street right at the end of Sunset Boulevard you may have heard of called the Sunset Strip, where I think they have stars, hands, the hands embedded in cement or whatever, a number of stars up there. You see that's in front of you, you see that's Beverly Hills. That's there. Well, it leads on to Beverly Hills, but you see Beverly there, yeah. Yeah, so I just thought I'd show you around a little bit. It's has a reputation for being very plush and that, but only if you have, I think, say big money. If you're working class American, I think life here is quite hard and very manic as well. Food, if you want food, this is the place to come. I mean, I ate so much yesterday, I think my digestive system couldn't cope. You know, there's some nice ice cream yesterday. I can't remember the name of the ice cream. It was, come back to me. It's very, very nice ice cream. It was recommended to me by a friend. But still, I think obesity and type 2 diabetes are still a big problem in the USA. Santa Monica, world famous Santa Monica. Lexington. And I think on the other side there somewhere is what's known as the Valley, I think, where traditionally I think it was a place where they produced a lot of porn, you know, some of the most world famous porn stars. I think Ron Jeremy, some of the less known ones, I think John Staliano, I think all worked there. It's another world. Hollywood's like a culture of its own. It's so pretentious. It's you definitely know you're there, Hollywood. We should be there in a minute. Where dreams are made and have been made. New production of Call of the Wild. God, I remember the last one in the 70s. Charlton Heston, I think it was. You see some of the homelessness property here. Look at that. It's almost verging on a shanty town in parts now. And Jennifer Lopez is still quite popular out here. Film. I think a lot of it is Netflix now. Netflix seems to be taking over for movies. I mean, someone was telling yesterday that it's quite an acknowledged authority in the film world is involved, and he said that Hanna-Barbera was brought out by Warner Brothers, and what was it? Disney brought out Fox. Yeah, so Disney now own Fox. I think originally known as 20th Century Fox, and they produced some incredibly big movies. One of them is Alien, owned by Disney now, I believe. So it's being gobbled up one by one, and I think the main reason for that is Netflix and people staying at home to watch movies. I mean, most of the the ones on the poster board out here are advertised on Netflix. I think there's a certain joy that people can get from going to the cinema that you can't. You know, it's a social thing. It was traditionally where you'd go out, but it's not to be anymore. So there it is. This is Hollywood. I'll try and show you the sign in a second. so many of the biggest films, you know, the home of the film industry, really. I mean, a lot of it based here. Some of the biggest studios, Universal City Studios over there. I mean, my friend was asking me yesterday about Pinewood Studios, which is a few studios, but film studios in the UK are more scattered around. Like, you'll find that Ealing Film Studios is based in Ealing, Pinewood's based in Iverheath, Shepperton is based in a little village near Shepperton, and you've got smaller studios like Twickenham Studios, and even in East London you've got Three Mills Studios. I've worked a couple of times in Stratford, believe it or not, but here it's more centralised in Hollywood. It lives up to its name. Some of the palm trees out here are very huge, basically coconut trees, I think. Some of pretty high now. Franklin, maybe named after Franklin Roosevelt, I don't know. See downtown and in front of you central Los Angeles. Huge place, really. This area is higher. That's the lowlands over there. Easy to get lost. Last time I was here, they saw people selling pamphlets called guides to the stars' houses, and I think at the time Marlon Brando may have been alive, and you know, I think Stephen Morris, he lives in what was formerly Clark Gable's house, but I haven't seen that so much this time. So whether the fad, it was just a fad, or the novel's dying out, I don't know, but I haven't seen it. It's seems to be taken over down there by the homeless. Hollywood Boulevard. And not so far down there, the world famous, very wealthy area traditionally, Rodeo Drive, I think you may have heard of it. Alice Cooper mentions Rodeo Drive in one of his songs, Wish I Were Born in Beverly Hills, which is a great song, and all about the pretense out here, and you know, everyone thinks that there's something. So up here in the Hollywood Hills again, many famous streets up here. You'll probably recall some of the names: Sunset Boulevard, Hollywood Boulevard, Hollywood Bowl over there, and Sunset Strip at the end of Sunset Boulevard. all universally known places, and surrounded by the hills. Over there in front of me is Universal City Studios, famous for making Jaws, E.T., Steven Spielberg movies, I think also Pirates of the Caribbean as well. It was a glorious day this morning. It does get very, very cold here at night. I was surprised, compared to Essex. It's very, very chilly last night, but lovely in the day, of course. Universal City, Hollywood Freeway. So this is otherwise known, as the movie La La Land, I think, Land of Vanity, or so many people arrive at this place expecting to make it and don't. So many people leave. Lucky ones have been Arnold Schwarzenegger and Jean-Claude Van Damme. Came from very modest beginnings. Lived in Stratford at one time, I believe, Arnold Schwarzenegger, before he came here, and ended up being governor of California, didn't he? Universal Studios. So this is the heart of Hollywood, Universal City. There it is, just behind me. This is the one and only Sunset Boulevard, and if you look in the hills up there, you'll see the Hollywood sign. There it is, way in the distance there, you might see it a bit close up. Fucking bollocks! This is the one and only Sunset Boulevard, and up front in a minute is the Hollywood sign. It's one hell of a day, very hot day in Southern California. A day that's good to be by the beach, I think, which is probably where I'll be going later on. I think you would have liked it. I think you would have. The Hollywood sign over there. Lucille Avenue, I imagine that must be named after Lucille Ball, and there's Hollywood sign, there it is up there, see it in the distance. Street is a famous Sunset Boulevard, and there's up there in the hills is you'll see Hollywood, the Hollywood sign. Seconds. there she is, Hollywood. That's where it's all happened over the years. Originally I think called Hollywood Land, and I think the LAND fell off and they decided that Hollywood wasn't such a mouthful. And one famous moment in that sign's history was Groucho Marx, apparently, who suffered with insomnia. Alice Cooper used to regularly talk him to sleep, and last thing that happened was he used to take the cigar out of Groucho's mouth before it fell on his lap. And Alice Cooper promised Groucho Marx that he would repair the Hollywood sign, and I think he put forward $21,000 of his own money in order to do so. So thanks to Alice, I believe we still have the Hollywood emblematic sign today. I think everyone in the known universe must be aware of that sign of Hollywood at some stage. Still get a lot of homelessness even in here, you know. It's changed so much since I was here a few years back. The homelessness is spread wide. I think it's worse down by the beaches that I saw last night. So it's an incredibly hot day out there. One for the shorts, to be quite honest, one for the swimming trunks. I think apparent in America is the amount of advertising which is more than an indication of the country's incredible obsession with consumerism. I think it's far more prolific than the UK's. It's everywhere. Like homelessness, it's everywhere. You can eat yourself silly out here if you want to. Who needs Disney World when you got so many lights around here, you know? Something else that's big out here, that was seen two massive, you might have heard of the Church of Scientology. There's a couple in Sunset Boulevard. Sunday, I have something for you. That's a shame. Oh, okay. I get the message. Best wishes and good luck. Very best wishes. It's the only trouble out here. You don't need light to go green to turn red, and you get sometimes caught in the right-hand lane when everyone else wants to turn right. You can't turn left, but you can turn right on red, and it can cause a lot of delays. Street. I need to give you something. I need to give you something. I have something. I need to give you something. I have to have something for you. I have something for you. Street is a famous Sunset Boulevard, and there's up there in the hills is you'll see Hollywood sign. In seconds. there she is, Hollywood. That's where it's all happened over the years. Originally I think called Hollywood Land, and I think the LAND fell off and they decided that Hollywood wasn't such a mouthful. And one famous moment in that sign's history was Groucho Marx, apparently, who suffered with insomnia. Alice Cooper used to regularly talk him to sleep, and last thing that happened was he used to take the cigar out of Groucho's mouth before it fell on his lap. And Alice Cooper promised Groucho Marx that he would repair the Hollywood sign, and I think he put forward $21,000 of his own money in order to do so. So thanks to Alice, I believe we still have the Hollywood emblematic sign today. I think everyone in the known universe must be aware of that sign of Hollywood at some stage. Still get a lot of homelessness even in here, you know. It's changed so much since I was here a few years back. Homelessness is spread wide. I think it's worse down by the beaches I saw last night. So it's an incredibly hot day out there. One for the shorts, to be quite honest, one for the swimming trunks. I think apparent in America is the amount of advertising which is more than an indication of the country's incredible obsession with consumerism. I think it's far more prolific than the UK's. It's everywhere. Like homelessness, it's everywhere. You can eat yourself silly out here if you want to. who needs Disney World when you got so many lights around here, you know? Something else that's big out here, that was seen two massive, you might have heard of the Church of Scientology. There's a couple in Sunset Boulevard. Sunday, I have something for you. That's a shame. Oh, okay. I get the message. Best wishes and good luck. Very best wishes. It's the only trouble out here. You don't need light to go green to turn red, and you get sometimes caught in the right-hand lane when everyone else wants to turn right. You can't turn left, but you can turn right on red, and it can cause a lot of delays. Get off the street. I need to give you something. I need to give you something. I have something. I need to give you something. I have to have something for you. I have something for you. There you see a Church of Scientology. There's I think 2 or 3 of those in Sunset Boulevard. Founded by a guy called L. Ron Hubbard, who used to write science fiction, but decided to make millions by starting Scientology. I think lots of the Hollywood superstars are in it. I think Tom Hanks and John Travolta. They even made a movie called Battlefield Earth, which wasn't a success. One of Hubbard's attempts at writing science fiction. About 10 years ago, I think it was. It wasn't a success. Travolta was in it, but they charged extortionate prices to do Scientology or Dianetics courses, and a lot of people are of the opinion that it's just a scam and a con, and to extract money from people. Basically, they're saying that he made this modern religion as complex as he possibly could to get people to think that there was something in it. So again, I think it plays on the weak-minded and the weak and the vulnerable as a sort of psychological crutch. Hollywood, otherwise known as I think Frank Zappa, you know, Tinseltown Rebellion. You know, some of you might remember that record, that album. Okay. Best wishes for the future. Best wishes. Probably take. Ripley's, believe it or not. Got one of those in Piccadilly. I think they did have. I think it's Body Worlds now. And basically full of, I think, anomalies in the world, things that you wouldn't believe are true but actually are true. Ripley's, believe it or not. Please.
He better not stalk on my young and go feed him. Won't smoke it, we got it, treat me like a cheat. Nigga so hot when I stack, I don't ask him for pictures. Nigga so bad like a plaza, I love it, no fast. The spot got 100 hoes in it. No, I'm not worried about a nigga that
Hi from Santa Monica, California. This is still an integral part of Los Angeles, albeit it's right on the coast. You'll see down there is the coastline, otherwise known as the Pacific Highway, which goes all the way up to San Francisco. And what's important about this place is, if you look, that all the shops are in this whole district, this whole neighbourhood, is all English, you know. So fish and chips there, you'll see. I mean, this place is Ye Old King's Head. I mean, it doesn't get any more English than that. And up the street as well, there's a, look at that, Happy Hour, London Transport. Who'd have thought it, you know? Even English breakfast there. So, you know, there was I thinking there wasn't such a thing as an English American, you know, because we lost what was once British America. And I was just talking to a couple of guys, and they told me that they were of English colonial descent. So there seems to be definite remnants of the British Empire in this little part of California, which is fascinating. And If you ever come here, it's there you go. It's 2nd Street, Santa Monica, and it's a fairly straightforward drive from Los Angeles, central Los Angeles, Hollywood. You take the Route 10 down, and it's all the way down basically. I mean, sat nav, you know, you can't go wrong now. And it's been a really pleasant afternoon. It's been very, very busy down here. The beaches have been absolutely full. Because although it's got to remember it's only February, which is still winter down here in the UK, and I understand they've been having some very strong gales in the UK, and I'm not sorry to be away from it, to be quite honest. So hopefully by the time I go back, it will be springtime. So here's my delightful friend Joyce coming on the street, and we're now going to have, I think, what is known as an English meal, and I'm not sure what we're going to have yet, bangers and mash. I think Joyce likes English food. I'm just doing a little broadcast. Say, do you fancy having English food tonight? Say hi to the UK.
Hey!
Hey, the wonderful Joyce Chow there, Joyce. Well, what would you like tonight, Joyce? English or
English sounds wonderful.
shepherd's pie or?
Oh, I do like shepherd's
if
pie.
If they do it, I'm not sure. I was just saying that this is a very English district. You know, this is like the remnants of the British Empire in America. It's just
Well, you never
strange.
know what you'll find here.
You just don't know. This is just uncanny. I mean, look at it. Look, Union Jacks everywhere, and
see?
awesome stuff. Anyway, we'll see you later after a nice meal. I think we deserve it, and hope the weather's not too bad in the UK, because I'll be coming back in a few weeks' time. Adios for now. Say hi to all my friends in Essex, Joyce. There you go. Adios. This is shepherd's pie, American style, and as you can see, it's a very generous portion. Everything's so generous.
Just turn it around the other way.
Oh yeah, I think it's.
No, you can turn it around, like flip it, so then you can take the picture.
Uh-huh.
You can look at it.
It's a good thing.
Hello. Hello, sir.
Is it Scientology? That's Scientology. You may have heard of it. Scientology is, I spoke about it the other day, they basically it's a con. They con people into believing weak, basically. That they can help them, basically, and they charge thousands of pounds for their courses. Very popular in America. Got a church in Tottenham Court Road as well in London. So yeah, I'm back in Hollywood after a long drive, San Diego, and been to Santa Monica as well. Santa Monica is another part of LA. I'm probably going back there again. And last night I went to an English pub English Cornish pub in West Pico Boulevard, which is I think in the west side of Los Angeles. Met my friend David and his girlfriend over there. Very nice evening. So certainly is a holiday of contrasts. Hello. Thank you very much.
Scotland.
I'm sorry?
Scotland.
Scotland, no, England.
You're British.
You're British, English, yeah.
I like England. I visit there.
Oh, right.
People are nicer there.
Oh, yeah, here, yeah. I mean, it's, everyone's out of their head on drugs here, right?
No.
Yeah.
You are showing your family?
Yeah, just a little tour. I've been to San Diego.
Oh, you would like San Diego.
Yeah, San Diego is nice. And, but the pace of life over here is just too fast.
I know.
It's pretty relaxed, and everything is money here. You know, I'm not so sure I could do it full time. Yeah.
That's right. Experience is good.
Oh, it definitely is.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot.
No problem.
Take care. Cheers. Yeah, so you meet a lot of Americans, or in her case Chinese American, who aren't too happy here. I suppose you get that everywhere. This is sort of really typically what you expect from Hollywood, I suppose. You know, the glitz, or as Frank Zappa would say, Tinseltown's rebellion. You notice I'm wearing a scarf, you know, it's let's get a little bit chillier as the evening gets on. I just fancy the light supper tonight, a soup or something like that. Some amazing structures about, you know. So a fundamental difference between Britain and America, I suppose, would be not only is obviously America a much younger country, but England has had much more time to develop its philosophy, shall we say, you know, going back to the legal system, the Magna Carta, etc., etc., the Jarrow Crusades, the English Civil War, and I think most Americans may agree that life is a little bit easier in England when it comes to social security, etc., etc. And people over here, if you work in America, from what I'm told, the most you get off a holiday or vacation, as they say, is about 1 week a year, even the police force. So they certainly don't give anything away here. It's okay if you've got big money.
$10 discount, to Madame Tussauds Wax Museum. $10 discount.
Jehovah's Witnesses over here, surprise, surprise. I think they're breeding, and they're populating other parts of the globe. Local boy. Anyone who know who that is? Who's that guy? Epping boy, Rod Stewart. Found a nice little Chinese restaurant. Dine all by myself. Cheers. It's like this all the time business isn't too good. So this should be round the right, the right way this time, hopefully. When the camera's back to front, it's very difficult to read. As you see, this time you can read it, and unless you like enjoy your brain converting the negative to the positive. Look at it that way. Poor Robin came to a very sad end, didn't he? I think he believed that he was in the early stages of dementia. Good day, how are you? How are you?
Hey, how you doing, my friend?
Good. William Shatner, he made Star Trek, didn't he? In my opinion.
Well, that, yeah.
Yeah, William Shatner, yeah.
There you go.
Captain Kirk, beam me up, Scotty. Let me know. She's standing on Elton's. How can anyone stand on Elton's? Right.
She fell out and
I gotta get a photo with Chris, man. You five for him, man? You doing? Can I take a photo with you? Go on the face.
Westworld, Chinese Theatre. Someone important coming here today. Who's coming? Anyone special? Anyone special or just an opening?
Whoever comes out of that show, Westworld.
Oh, Westworld, the new film, yeah. I like the original. Yul Brynner, remember the original? Good movie, yeah. This is a TV series though, yeah?
That's right.
Right, yeah. Cheers. Big day. Yeah, it's everyone's talking about Westworld out here, and the original was in the 70s. I think Yul Brynner was one of the major actors, but it's been revamped into the form of a TV show for Netflix, I think. So it's a special day here. Always something happening in Hollywood. Look, the film crew here. It's all here, but it's all artificial as well. I mean, that's what, in a strange sort of way, I suppose that what makes it unique. It is all artificial. Marilyn.
Step right up,
Ladies, let's Australia.
Because I remember to talk about how artificial it is down here. The Stranglers in the 70s had a song called Dead Los Angeles, and I remember a couple of the lyrics to that song. It was the plastic people here, the plastic beaches there. You see the leeches there. You see the leeches there in Dead Los Angeles. Dead Los Angeles. A bit rich, I suppose, you know, because where would the film industry be without Hollywood? You know, it's the holy grail, let's face it. Some of these people around still, a lot of them long gone. Oh, he's here as well, look at that. Remember him? What about the Roadrunner? The Roadrunner, where's the Roadrunner? Mint. I think the Roadrunner was one of the funniest characters. I think we've all known a Roadrunner. Can you think of a Roadrunner that you may have heard of? Ah, there's the man. Brought Kung Fu to our living rooms. her name, but I can't remember any movies she was in. There is Beam Me Up Scotty. Ah, Rachel Welch, still around. Wasn't she beautiful? She's new Star Trek series. Our one and only Englishman. Here's Brosnan. I never really did think an Irishman playing a British Secret Service agent was a good idea. I won't give my reasons. Robert Wagner. Right. The list goes on and on. There's the man. I'm being a bit naughty because I'm walking before you're supposed to, but no one's told me not to, so laws were made to be broken, I suppose. See, these ones are blank, so they've yet to be filled. Who knows? Who knows whose famous names are gone? I haven't seen, oh God, what's his name? American actor, Cross the Line, Street Fighter, Charles Bronson. I haven't seen Charles Bronson, and I haven't seen James Coburn yet either. Remember Cagney and Lacey? Both of them together. Yeah. There were three. There's the original blonde in Cagney and Lacey. They changed her. She was the sort of portly woman who was in MASH, and they changed her for Sharon Gless. Maybe the other one was a little bit overweight, I'm not sure. Bernstein. Oh. Where's Vera Lynn? Where's Vera Lynn? She's still around, actually. Don't tell me they're not putting Elvira on here. She was the Force's sweetheart. She was the one that all the Tommies dreamed of when we were locked up in the Stalags. Hello, girlfriend. And, you know, in those days, what choice did they have? Anyway, I'll see you all later because I'm going to go for a little stroll up in the hills up there, and I think it will bore you to tears if I take you there. But it's quite a view. And although this is a city, you're never really that far from countryside, and I'm told they don't have foxes out here like we do. They have raccoons and coyotes. I'm sure you've all heard of coyotes in well, I think we call them prairie dogs, always in those western movies. I'm told that they hunt in packs, but they're not dangerous to human beings. I don't know how true that is. Hope we don't find out. Imagine when a dog's hungry, it's hungry. We're going uphill now.